Whispers in the woods. In the depth of the forgotten woods, the silhouette of an old cabin loomed through the mist, its weathered timbers groaning under the weight of secrets untold. Jake, an avid explorer of abandoned places, had heard tales of the cabin's ghostly past and couldn't resist the lure of a night spent within its desolate walls. Armed with only his camera and a flashlight, Jake pushed open the creaking door. The air inside was thick with the smell of mold and decay. As he ventured further, the floorboards moaned beneath his steps, echoing through the empty rooms like the whispers of the past. Nightfall wrapped the woods in darkness, and the cabin became a shadowy realm. Jake set up his sleeping bag near the cold fireplace, the flicker of his campfire casting eerie shadows on the walls. Every crack and pop from the fire made his heart skip, but it was the sudden cold draft that truly unsettled him. The fire sputtered as if gasping for air, and then, silence enveloped him. A chill crept up his spine as he saw his breath in the air, frost forming on the inside of the windows. The temperature dropped, and the oppressive silence was broken by a soft mournful wail that swirled around the room. Jake's eyes darted to the dark corners of the cabin, searching for the source of the sound that now filled the air like a sorrowful lament. From the shadows, a figure slowly emerged, its form blurred and shifting, draped in the remnants of what might have once been a wedding dress. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow pools of despair, and she moved towards him with a grace that belied her tragic visage. Jake couldn't move, frozen by a mixture of fear and fascination. "Why do you disturb my solitude?" the apparition whispered, her voice a chilling caress that seemed to echo from the walls themselves. I didn't mean to intrude," Jake stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "I thought it was just a story. Many have forgotten me, but this place remembers," she said, her eyes locking onto his with an intensity that made him shudder. "And now, you shall too." As she spoke, the air grew colder, and the walls of the cabin began to creak and groan louder, as if in pain. The ghostly bride reached out her hand, her touch as cold as the grave. Jake felt a darkness creeping into his vision, the edges of the room blurring and darkening until all he could see was her sorrowful eyes. When the morning light finally pierced through the cracks of the cabin, it found Jake lying cold and still by the extinguished fire. The cabin was silent once more, but for those who knew where to listen, the sorrowful wails still echoed through the night, a sinister reminder of the cabin's dark legacy. But the tale did not end with the dawn. The spirit of the cabin, once bound within its dilapidated walls, had found a new conduit in Jake. As night enveloped the woods once more, eerie lights flickered within the cabin's broken windows, casting ghostly shadows that danced across the trees. The air grew heavy with a chilling mist, and the mournful wails that once haunted the cabin now whispered through the forest, each breeze carrying tales of sorrow and despair. Local legend quickly grew, as travelers and townsfolk alike spoke of the cursed woods where the past lingered and the dead spoke in sighs. Bound by the tragedy of the damned woman, Jake found himself returning to the cabin night after night. With each visit, his eyes grew paler, his steps more spectral. The cabin, fueled by its dark history and the tragedies of those it entrapped, began to change. Roots twisted around its foundation, and the forest seemed to creep closer, as if to swallow it whole. Jake's fate was now intertwined with that of the ghostly bride and the cabin itself. Unable to leave, he became an unwilling guardian of their stories, a keeper of the wood's darkest secrets. Those brave enough to approach the cabin after sundown reported seeing a figure at the window, staring out with hollow eyes, his expression a mixture of warning and despair.